the subject this time on trying to make all my YouTubers better people is about our dreams and where we want our life to be. Okay? You know, we all have dreams. We all put ourselves out into the future. Where do I want to be? What do I want to do in life? You know, when I was young growing up, I had dreams. I mean, I got involved in sports at a young age, and I thought, boy, if I could do this, if I could do that, never thinking that someday I would ever get to the games or win the games or set world records. I mean, that was like everybody else did that, not me. And so I was just kind of going through sports, dreaming about being the best I possibly can. I started running the decathlon when I was 20 years old, after years of being a pole vaulter and all these other sports and playing football and playing basketball and doing all these different sports. But about 1970, I decided, I'm going to quit everything else and just concentrate on this thing called the decathlon. Never knowing where I was going to go. You know, I would dream about, you know, hey, the Olympic Games and this and that. Yeah, it's like, no, somebody else always does that, not me. I'm just little old me. And I got all the way to the Olympic trials in 1972. You make the qualifying standard, you get an invitation to go to the trials. And so I just snuck and made the trials. I go to the trials. Now, I wasn't even ranked in the top 10 in the United States. And the top 3 from that one competition will move on to the Olympic Games. Top 3 go. I'm not even ranked in the top 10. Nobody's talking about me. I'm not even talking about me, you know, I mean. So I go to the first day of competition. You run 5 events the first day. And I run those first 5 events, and there I am sitting firmly in 11th place. I thought, okay, I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a pretty good meet, but you know. And I thought the top 3 was like impossible. I go to the next one to start the next day. You run 5 events. I start with the hurdles. Run the 110-meter high hurdles. I ran that race so fast. I went from 11th place right back to 11th, didn't make a move at all. 4 events to go. I go to the next event, discus. Boom, popped it out there. Best throw of my life. I said, yes, that had to help. And it did. I moved from 11th place to 10th place. Okay, so I'm in 10th place, top 3 go, and I got 3 events left. I go to the next event, pole vault. Move from 10th to 7th. I throw the javelin, 7th to 5th. I'm in 5th place, the last event, the 1500 meters. My best running event. I can beat pretty much everybody's there. So I start thinking to myself, wait a second. If I knew the guy in 3rd place, a guy named Steve Goff from Seattle, Washington, and I knew something about Steve. He wasn't very good in the 1500 meters. So I started getting my little piece of paper out, and I start writing down what I know, basically what my time is, and I know what his best time is. And I calculated, I gotta beat him in the 1500 meters, which is basically the metric mile. I gotta beat him by 18 seconds in the race to overcome the points I'm behind and sneak into 3rd place. I heard the announcement on the PA system when his score came out, and I knew it had to be under 7,300 points. If he's under 7,300 points, I got a chance. I remember the announcer, my hands are folded, my head is on my arms, belly down, laying on the grass, looking at the grass, and I'm listening to the announcer on the PA system. I'm thinking, please, be under 7,300 points. If he is, I got a chance. 1st, 2nd place, don't care. 3rd place, my ears are tuned. Steve Goff from Seattle, Washington, 7,298 points. I literally levitated off the ground. I mean, I got to my feet and my heartbeat went from 70 or 80 to 180 just standing there. My heart is pounding so hard. I'm hyperventilating so much. I got so much oxygen going in my system that I'm getting like a pins and needles feeling in my hands, and they're starting to slowly fall asleep. And I'm thinking, oh my God, here it is, the biggest race of my life, and I'm not even going to make it to the starting line. So for the next 15 minutes before the race actually started, it was just trying to calm down enough so I could run a good time. I knew I had to beat him at that point by 18 seconds in the race. His best time and my best time, 14 seconds difference. He was 14 seconds slower. So I figure if he runs his best time, I got to run 4 or 5, 6 seconds faster than I've ever run before in my life. And just maybe I got a chance. Steve's going to be in the race with me, so I don't know the exact time. So the gun goes off. Jeff Bennett, who's already on the team, and a great 1500 meter man. I had never beaten him before in the race. He's a great 1500 meter man. I told Jeff beforehand, I said, this is what the situation is. I'm going to follow you. So you take off, take the lead. I'm going to pull in right behind you. And that's exactly what happened. Jeff takes the lead. I'm right in behind him. I'm just looking at the small of his back and trying to run as easy and as relaxed as I possibly can. Don't use any energy to run. Save it all for the end, you know? And we go around the first lap, exactly what I wanted at the time. Come around the second lap, and now we're halfway through the race. And this guy, Goff, I got a beat by 18 seconds. I thought maybe I should just take a sneak peek over my shoulder and see where this Goff guy was. And I slowly look over my shoulder. There he was, right behind me. And I went, oh man, I got, a lap and 3/4. And so I yelled at Jeff in front of me. I said, Jeff, pick the pace up. And of course, good old Jeff picks the pace up. We go around the next lap, and we come by, which would be the finish line. And I'm looking to the inside of the track, and there's a guy that's got a bell. And when he rings that bell, it signifies 1 lap. And as I'm getting closer, I felt pretty good. And I see he's got his hand on the bell. If he rings that bell, I got 400 meters to go. I'm gone. I'm just gonna take off. And as I go by, I hear this ding, 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 ding. And this guy, Jeff, in front of me, who I'd never beaten before in the race, I just went right around him and just started into that final turn. I mean, I was running that final turn, in that final lap. I don't even remember after the race was over. I don't even remember running the race. Maybe I cut across the track, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going down the backstretch, just running as hard as I possibly can, just trying to get ahead of this guy. I go across the finish line, and for the next 15, 20 seconds or so, I physically, emotionally, everything just died. Because I looked back down the track, and this Goff guy was still coming in. I had to beat him by 18 seconds. I ran an 8-second personal best time, and beat him by 21 seconds and made it on my first Olympic team. That was such a moment to go through. I never thought in a million years that I would ever go to an Olympics, It was overwhelming to say the least. But there I was. That was the first time I had to reach down into my soul. And I firmly believe everybody has a champion that lives down deep inside of you that can do extraordinary things in their lives. But that was the first time I reached down into my soul. And you know what? I found something. I found that I can overcome whatever is put in front of me. I can overcome it if I want it bad enough. I go to the Olympics in Munich in 1970 for my first Olympics. And I go there and I am overwhelmed. It's so big. The opening ceremonies, the pageantry, the history behind it, the countries that are involved. It's the biggest happening in the world. And there I am standing in the middle of the field thinking, what am I doing here? I'm just little old me. I got into the competition, and I ran well, okay? I wanted to get in the top 10. I figure I've only been doing this event for 2 years, and if I get in the top 10 in the world, I'm so far ahead of schedule, I can't stand it. Wound up running a good meet, wound up 10th place. I just snuck into the top 10. I was pleased once the competition was over with my performance. I didn't win, but I got 10th place. I'm very happy. But then, the next thing that happened changed my life for the next 4 years. I stood up on the side because I had never seen an Olympic gold medal ceremony happening right in front of me. Seen it happen on TV, but never happening right in front of me. So once the medal ceremony started for the decathlon, I kind of snuck off onto the sides, kind of in the shadows of the Olympic Stadium, and I got as close as I could. And I watched that ceremony. And a gentleman named Nikolai Avilov of the Soviet Union stood on top of that platform. He had just won the decathlon, won a gold medal, just broke the world record, scored 8,454 points, just broke the world record in doing it. And I stood off on the side, watching that. I basically said to myself, look it, I never expected to get this far, okay? But I'm here. What if I take the next 4 years of my life and every minute of every day, I test myself just to see how good I could become at something. Because you know what? Right over there, that's what I want out of life. I'll pick up the pieces 4 years from now and go on with my life, because it's only sports, you know? There's more to life than sports. But for the next 4 years, I want to give up everything else in my life and every minute of every day test myself just to see how far I can go and how good I can become. Because you know what? That's what I want out of life. And I'm willing to take the gamble, take the risk to go after it. I had taken my dream that I had had for so many years of playing sports and reached down into my soul where that champion lives down deep inside of every one of us, and made a concrete, gut-wrenching decision about what I wanted out of life. Right up there in front of me is what I want out of life. Because when we make true decisions in life, everything changes. Attitudes change, work habits change, everything changes. That night, I jump into bed. It's like almost midnight. I just run the decathlon for 2 days. And I shut my eyes and I can't sleep. And all I can see is this Avilov character standing on top of that platform. That's what I want. And then all of a sudden in my head, I start hearing this ticking. And as I'm laying there, all of a sudden I think, you know what? Time is my enemy. I've only got 4 years to pull this thing off. What are you doing laying in bed? I got out of bed, went downstairs, threw on my running shorts, and at midnight, I'm running through the streets of Munich, Germany, training for the games 4 years from now. Because that's what happens when you make true decisions in your life. Attitudes change, work habits change, everything changes. Today, I have to feel it's the same way. I struggled with myself for many, many, many years. I dreamed about living my life authentically. Never really thinking it was ever going to happen. How can Bruce Jenner do something like that? Yeah, society couldn't take it, you know? I had family, I had all these issues, you know? Just keep your mouth shut and do what you have to do just to survive, you know? And I just dream about it. As I went through life for many, many years, till the age of 65, I had raised all my family. I had done everything for everybody else. And all my family was doing great. And now it was kind of time to take care of myself and my struggles. I couldn't. It was only a dream at this point. I couldn't really make the decision until I talked to all my children, told them that this could be happening. But the last one I had to talk to was my pastor. My pastor, very good friend. But if anybody has any faith whatsoever in their soul, I would always ask the question, like, God, why did you do this to me? Why are these thoughts in my head over my identity and who I am? Why can I just not like take 2 aspirin, get plenty of sleep, and wake up the next morning and I'm fine? It's just something that never leaves, you know? And here I am, after 65 years of struggling with this, you know, I'm right back where I started. So I talked to my pastor, and that was kind of the last straw that I had to deal, the last thing that I had to deal with. And as we talked, I thought to myself, you know what, because I had thought about suicide, I thought about all these things. I thought, you know what, maybe this is the reason God put me on this earth. To, at this point in my life, after I've done everything else, to live my life authentically. Try to make society understand these issues. And I was walking through a field all by myself and thinking about all this stuff. And I was thinking the yays and the nays of how can Bruce Jenner do this? What would society say? I could get creamed, murdered, called a freak. I mean, you name it. All this is going through my head. But eventually, I turned my little dream of living my life authentically, and I made a decision that no matter what happens, this is what I'm going to do in my life. And have never looked back.